Hi and welcome to the weekly market update. It is Tuesday the 11th of June 2013. So it's worth noting this week we've got a holiday in China for Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. We also saw some data out of China over the weekend. It was trade data. We saw exports coming in quite a bit lower than expected, but we also saw their imports reading coming in lower than expected, so not too much of a negative effect on the trade balance there, but weakening exports obviously isn't such a good sign for China. Also in terms of data that we saw yesterday, we had French industrial production data and manufacturing production data. These both came in much stronger than expected, with readings with 2.2 and 2.6 respectively. However, not such a positive industrial production out of Italy. This actually came in a little bit weaker than expected. We also saw Italy's GDP quarter one reading revised down to negative 0.6 from negative 0.5, so not so positive there in Italy. Otherwise, in terms of data yesterday, we had a Eurozone investor sentiment survey that again coming in a little bit lower than expected, but the reading was better than the last. So into data that we've seen today, we had the Bank of Japan monetary policy meeting concluded this morning. They've decided to keep their monetary policy largely steady. They've actually looked quite optimistic, got some positivity about the economy over there. We had Kuroda speaking, expressing the positivity that they're seeing, but also saying that they will be keeping an eye on the yields that we've seen sort of quite a bit of activity there in Japan recently. Otherwise, also worth noting today, over today and tomorrow, we've got a two-day hearing of the German Constitutional Court. And they're doing a hearing on the ECB's OMT programme. This came in, well, it was announced last year by Draghi, and he's claimed that it's one of the best monetary policy tools used, but what we've seen is that quite a few complaints coming from the Germans in particular, hence the German Constitutional Court having a hearing on this, over the legality of the programme and whether it's actually under the Constitution that this can be put in place. So it's something to watch out there over the next couple of days while this hearing is going on. But it is worth noting that this is just a hearing, and we probably won't see a judgment on this for another couple of weeks. Case also out today from the UK, we've seen an industrial production reading. It came in just slightly better than expected at 0.1%. We also saw a manufacturing production reading, and this came in as expected at negative 0.2%. This is the first output data that will contribute towards the quarter two reading of GDP from the UK, so it will be largely watched, and we'll also see this put towards the estimates that we'll see coming out for quarter two GDP. This afternoon we have got the NIESR estimate of a GDP reading. However, this is for the 3 months to May rather than the traditional quarter on quarter. So the NIESR GDP estimate for the 3 months leading to May comes out this afternoon for the UK. Otherwise, in terms of data this afternoon, it's all the US. We've got a small business optimism survey and also wholesale inventories and sales. So that leaves us trading today with the FTSE around 63.14. We've got the Dow future at 15.131. Eurodollar trading around 1 spot 32.85. Cable around the 155.51 mark. Gold future we've got around 13.68 spot 80, and the Brent future around 103 spot 38. Okay, so for the rest of the week, tomorrow starts off with French non-farm payroll data, so some employment out of France. We get Eurozone regional readings of CPI, so from Germany, Spain, Italy and France, largely expected to be the same as the last readings, apart from in France where we might see a slight tick up in the CPI. We've also got Eurozone industrial production reading, that's the Eurozone as a whole, expecting that to come in flat from the prior of 1% there for the industrial production. From the UK, we've got employment data, so we see that ILO unemployment rate, expecting that to come in at 7.8%, the same as the last reading. We'll also see jobless claims data, expecting that reading to be negative 5,000. We'll see some average earnings data as well alongside those. And from the US tomorrow, we've got mortgage applications, and also the monthly budget report is released in the evening. Into Thursday, it's quite quiet in data-wise from Europe. We've got German wholesale price index in the morning, and also we'll see the ECB release their monthly bulletin as well. Main data is going to be from the US. We've got retail sales coming out, expected to come in up 0.4% from the last 0.1%, so hopefully some better retail sales for the US there. We've also got the usual initial jobless and continuing claims. Initial jobless expected to be the same reading as last, and continuing claims just to tick down slightly, so slightly lower reading there. Otherwise, business inventories in the afternoon for Thursday from the US. Finally into Friday, we've got UK construction output data. We're expecting a -4.1 for that reading, and the last reading was -7.4%, so we are expecting an improvement there, even though it still remains negative. From Europe, we've got the Eurozone CPI reading as a whole, following those regional readings that we saw on Tuesday, expecting a slight uptick in that Eurozone consumer price inflation, as well as some employment data for the Eurozone as a whole. And then from the US, we've got producer price inflation from them, expecting that to come in plus 0.1% from the previous -0.7%, and also US industrial production, expecting that again to come in positive. The last reading was negative. We also see capacity utilisation from the US, and then finally finishing off with the University of Michigan confidence reading, expecting that at 84.5%, the same as last. I think a big focus this week might be, it's good to watch out for the speakers. We've got a lot of ECB speakers out this week, especially around the German Constitutional Court hearing and the OMT programme. So expect to see a few people coming out with their comments and their bits and pieces on that. We had Draghi out yesterday talking about the ECB rates. He did state that rates will not go up until we see a recovery in the optimism of the Eurozone. We did see this weigh quite heavily on the fixed income markets yesterday, so just keep an eye out for these speakers. It does seem to move the markets quite a bit when they come out with comments regarding rates and probably the legality of this OMT programme. Okay, that's it for this week. As usual, any feedback much appreciated. Thanks.